Mary Teresa Slaney is a U.S. former track athlete. During her career, she won gold medals in the 1,500 meters and 3,000 meters at the 1983 World Championships, and was the world record holder in the mile, 5,000 meters and 10,000 meters. In total, she set 17 official and unofficial world records, including being the first woman in history to run less than 4:20 for the mile. She also set 36 U.S. national records at distances ranging from 800 meters to 10,000 meters, and has held the U.S. record in the mile, 2,000 meters and 3,000 meters since the early 1980s, while her 1,500 meters record stood for 32 years. Biography. Mary Decker was born in Bunvale, New Jersey. A decade later her family moved to Garden Grove in Southern California, where Decker started running. A year later, aged 11, she won her first local competition. She joined her school athletics club and a local track club, and completely immersed herself in running, for which she would pay an injury-laden price later in her career. At age 12, she completed a marathon and 4 middle and long-distance races in 1 week, ending the week with an appendectomy operation. Career. In her early teens, Decker was already recognized as a world-class runner. Unable to attend the 1972 Olympics as she was too young, the pigtailed 89-pound 14-year-old, nicknamed Little Mary Decker, won international acclaim in 1973 with a win in the 800 meters at a U.S.-Soviet meet in Minsk, beating the later Olympic silver medalist. By the end of 1972, Decker was ranked first in the United States and fourth in the world in the 800 meters. In 1973 she gained her first world record, running an indoor mile in 4 minutes 40 seconds and 1 millisecond. By 1974, Decker was the world indoor record holder with 2 minutes 2 seconds and 4 milliseconds for 880 yards, and 2 minutes 1 second and 8 milliseconds for 800 meters. By the end of 1974, she had developed a case of the muscle condition compartment syndrome. This resulted in a series of injuries, which meant that she did not compete in the 1976 Olympics, because of stress fractures in her lower leg. In 1978 she had an operation to try to cure compartment syndrome, which kept her out of competition for a period. After recovering from surgery, she spent 2 seasons at the University of Colorado at Boulder on a track scholarship. In 1979, she became the second American woman to break the 4:30 mile in American record time. Decker was the first woman to break the 4:20 barrier for the mile in 1980 when she ran it in 4 minutes 17 seconds and 55 milliseconds. However, this time was never ratified by the IAAF. In 1981 she married fellow American distance runner Ron Tabb. The couple divorced in 1983. In 1982, under the name Mary Tabb, she ran the mile in 4 minutes 18 seconds and 8 milliseconds, breaking the official record of 4 minutes 20 seconds and 89 milliseconds by the Soviet Lyudmila Veselkova. This time was ratified. She did not compete for an Olympic medal due to the U.S.-led 1980 Summer Olympics boycott. Career peak. In 1982 Decker Tabb set 6 world records, at distances ranging from the mile run to 10,000 meters. She received the James E. Sullivan Award as the top amateur athlete in the United States. The following year she achieved the double-decker, winning both the 1,500 meters and 3,000 meters events at the World Championships in Helsinki, Finland. Her history of relatively easy wins in the United States left her tactical abilities suspect in Helsinki, as she would not choose to run in close order because so few athletes could keep up with her, a situation that the Soviet runners hoped to use to their advantage. Her wins against Soviet world record holders proved a redemption of her competitive guile. After her double win, she won the Jesse Owens Award from USA Track and Field, and Sports Illustrated magazine named her Sportsperson of the Year. Shortly before her World Championship victories, Decker improved her U.S. 1,500 meters record to 3 minutes 57 seconds and 12 milliseconds in Stockholm on July 26, 1983. This record stood for 32 years until Shannon Robury ran 3 minutes 56 seconds and 29 milliseconds on July 17, 2015, the 1984 Olympic incident. Decker was heavily favored to win a gold medal in the 3,000 meters run at the 1984 Summer Olympics, held at Los Angeles. In the final, Sola Budd, representing Great Britain, had been running barefoot side by side with Decker for 3 laps and moved ahead. In an attempt to put pressure on Budd, Decker remained close by in a crowded space. Decker stood on Budd, then shortly after collided with the barefoot runner and fell spectacularly to the curb. As a result, Merit Decker did not finish the race, which was won by Marisa Capuica of Romania. Decker was carried off the track in tears by her boyfriend, British discus thrower Richard Slaney. At a press conference, she said that Budd was to blame for the collision. While it is generally the trailing athlete's responsibility to avoid contact with the runner ahead, it is also an accepted convention among most distance runners that the leader be a full stride ahead before cutting in. Track officials initially disqualified Budd for obstruction, but she was reinstated just 1 hour later once officials had viewed films of the race. Despite being behind Budd, Decker's claim that Budd had bumped into her leg was supported by a number of U.S. sports journalists, and Budd was hounded constantly in the press as a result, receiving a number of death threats. The claim was never accepted by the director of the games at the IAAF. Decker and Budd next met in July 1985 in a 3,000 meters race at Crystal Palace National Sports Centre in London, England. Decker won the race, and Budd finished in 4th place. After the race, the two women shook hands and made up. Decker later went on record as claiming that she was unfairly robbed of the LA 3,000 meters gold medal by Budd, but said many years after the event, "The reason I fell, some people think she tripped me deliberately. I happen to know that wasn't the case at all. The reason I fell is because Ironman was very inexperienced in running in a pack." Decker had a successful 1985 season, winning 12-mile and 3,000 meters races in the European athletics calendar, which included a new official world record for the women's mile of 4 minutes 16 seconds and 71 milliseconds in Zurich. Since that race in 1985, her time has only been bettered on 2 occasions. She sat out the 1986 season to give birth to her only child, daughter Ashley Lynn, but missed the 1987 season due to injury. She was the U.S. flag carrier during the opening ceremony of the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul, South Korea. She failed to win a medal. She did not qualify for the 1992 Games. Doping controversy. In 1996, at the age of 37, as she qualified for the 5,000 meters at the Atlanta Olympics, Decker became involved in controversy. A urine test taken in June at the Olympic trials showed a testosterone to epitestosterone ratio greater than the allowable maximum of 6:1. At the time of the positive test, Decker was being coached by Alberto Salazar. Decker and her lawyers contended that the TE ratio test is unreliable for women, especially women in the late 30s or older who are taking birth control pills. In the meantime, Decker was eliminated in the heats at the Olympics. In June 1997, the IAAF banned Decker from competition. In September 1999, a US ATF panel reinstated her. The IAAF cleared her to compete but took the case to arbitration. In April 1999, the arbitration panel ruled against her, after which the IAAF, threw a retroactive ban, even though she was cleared to compete, stripped her of a silver medal she had won in the 1,500 meters at the 1997 World Indoor Championships. In April 1999, Decker filed suit against both the IAAF and the U.S. Olympic Committee, which administered the test, arguing that the test is flawed and cannot distinguish between androgens caused by the use of banned substances and androgens resulting from the use of birth control pills. The court ruled that it had no jurisdiction, a decision that was upheld on appeal. The ratio test has seen its standards tightened to a 4-to-1 ratio, instead of the previous 6-to-1 ratio, and laboratories now also run a carbon isotope ratio test if the ratio is unusually high. Later life. Throughout her later career, Decker had suffered a series of stress-induced fractures. After the loss of her 1999 legal case, she agreed to have a series of 30-plus orthopedic procedures, mainly on her legs and feet. They were an attempt to enable her to run competitively in marathons. However, the surgery just increased the occurrence of the problems. As a result, she retired with her husband to a 55-acre property in Eugene, Oregon, where she can now jog every other day. Her other hobbies include sewing, quilting, gardening, renovating the property, and walking her 3 Weimaraner dogs. Elliptigo Racing. In 2012, Decker's injuries led her to start riding the Elliptigo elliptical bicycle, saying that it gave her the same feeling as her hard-running workouts used to. In September 2012, she competed in the Elliptigo World Championships race up Palomar Mountain in San Diego County, coming in second place. The following year, Decker took 6 minutes off her previous time and placed third at the 2013 Elliptigo World Championships.